tell us a little bit about yourself as an introduction.
Right, so Fatema Shuwaiter. I am the chef and owner here at Ark. And this is what I do for now. And what I used to do was completely something different. I used to do mass communication and marketing, corporate social responsibility as well. And this is where I ended up, falling in love in food, where the corporate social responsibility was. And yeah, that's about it.
It's very nice to hear. All right, so let's talk about the starting points of your career. Why did you open up Ark Coffee? Why and how did you open it?
It was both career and passion driven. The drive behind opening Ark, really. It was driven by my previous career and a passion that I've had since I was a kid for, food and cooking. And sometimes I burnt the house and sometimes I did something nice. So it was passion driven, memories, nostalgia. My aunt, Allah yarhamha, was one of the idols I had when it comes to food. Her pots and pans are all over the place. Yeah, so she was an influence when it comes to going into the kitchen and creating something. And opening a restaurant was actually completely something I never had in mind. Not until I worked in the field. I was working in Emaar, in Dubai Mall, and this is where I got exposed to how restaurants go about the commercial production of food. And later I had an internship in Sharjah, and I saw how does food get treated after being wasted, and it's all just piled up, and it was all like a collateral of ideas that pushed that passion into try doing something of your own and seeing how your ideas apply, like when it comes to waste management within a small entity. I'm not talking on a municipal level, on a small entity, what can be done, what can be not done, what can be given to people in a way in which people don't feel that they've been pressured into. Often people feel pressure when they're cornered into be environmentally friendly, be this, be that. It's a both operational pressure and a financial pressure to people on a personal level and to a company. So my experiment was to try to do that without the sense of having that pressure, and doing it at ease in a small entity, and maybe use it as an example for in the future of maybe something can be applied. I graduated with a minor in environmental policies, and part of it is doing what I'm doing now, is to apply these policies, whatever I come up with, on myself, and see if it works, and see if in the future it could be applied to others with a good result, like with a result in which reduces the amount of food in the garbage, at least coming out of commercial units, not houses and not residential units, but at least this would contribute to a lot of the wastage going on. But then again, this is the very professional story, and the very personal story is that I love to cook.
So you're doing it as a hobby as well?
As a hobby as well.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the next question, we'd like to ask you, because building a coffee or starting a coffee on your own might be a challenge because there's risk management. There are many risks because there are many challenges on the market. Yeah. So how and what are the challenges have you faced?
I don't know if I'm simplifying it here to people, but I opened after COVID. So I don't know what were the challenges that people had. Like, I know obviously, but what is now is completely different. And
so your opening is recently new. It's new. Like, you started in which year?
I started right after quarantine was over, literally in April. Sorry, no, it wasn't April. It was July. It was July 2021. And this is when exactly the restaurant opened, end of July. And we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how would people come in. And I was too scared to open the restaurant. Like, I don't know how to approach people. Usually when you'd open the restaurant, like classically, you'd have to send an invite. You'd have to do like private tastings. You'll have to do invite the VIPs or the people that contributed into making this happen, and have them, you know, like on a table. And we didn't know how many people we could have on a table, and would those people leave home and come sit together for such thing, I mean, such function. And so many questions were there, and too much frustration. And I was just sitting here at, I think, 8:45 or something, exactly 8:45 is when I posted open tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, like literally I just posted see you tomorrow. That's it.
You're probably too good in handling pressure.
Yeah,
You're very good at handling pressure.
Sometimes you don't have to be really good. Sometimes you just have to label it as something else and not as pressure. So I decided to, I don't know, just label it as do it. Don't they?
I like the positive vibe on that one.
Yeah, just change the label on the pressure, you know, and just turn it into something else and let it happen, let it be.
That's very nice to hear. All right, so Fatma, I want to ask you about the mistakes that you've done. And have you ever thought that the coffee that I have opened up might have been a mistake?
You're scaring me. I never actually thought of that. No. Like, there obviously, definitely, there has to be mistakes. You'll have to troubleshoot to learn, and then you'll have to go through a lot of things to know what to do right. And if you never messed up, you really don't know how to arrange things and put them in line. I can't really think of something major, except that I was at ease with a lot of things. Part of it was that I was trying not to let the pressure get to me. But it's not. It costed me time, and time is money. And when it comes to rent, when it comes to a lot of things, but يعني, subhanallah, with time you learn that even if this time got wasted in a form or another, you can really make up for it. You can do with whatever mistakes you decided to do, and time decided to take. And that could be one of the things that I've done wrong, and in the sense of doing things within the process that I was not satisfied with. It was time. I took my time more than I should. But I would say I wasted it, but I didn't really waste it in when it came to investing in myself, in my personal education. Like, I was away from the enterprise as a money-making entity, and I was away learning. I traveled to learn. I traveled to go to school. I went to school again. I went to culinary school. I traveled to Turkey and to a couple of other places to learn a lot of culinary techniques, arts, to learn traditional processes in which to produce and preserve food. And this was the time that I spent away from having Ark open and take in guests and make money. And I invested in myself, in my personal education. But it wasn't really it wasn't really a waste to me, more than it was a benefit. But today it taught me how to grind more, and to not waste a minute away from this place, away from making it grow, or away from making it work, away from making it expand to somewhere else, open a branch, or serve people beyond the space here, to cater, to do other things. So this mistake created a pressure today, and which is good to me.
All right, so may I ask, what's the reason behind the name Ark Coffee?
As a kid, I was fascinated by the story of Noah, the Ark, and Nuh alayhi salam, and it was one of my favorite. I used to gather animal dollies and make paper boats and put them in them. And I used to live in a house nearby, and this itself was one of the houses that I lived in first. This place itself. So I used to go to the beach and put on paper boats with animals in them, and there's a paper boat on the branding if you can see it. So this is it. This is where Ark comes from.
That's very nice.
Yeah, at the same time, in Arabic, the word ark, أو الأرك, شجرة الأرك, is the tree of miswak, the plant in which the Prophet ﷺ used to use to as a dental cleaning tool. It used to grow in Yemen. It still grows all over, but it used to grow like in huge shrubs in Yemen. And when the coffee plant came in, it looked very much similar to that plant. And they thought it's just the same plant, and they grew it similarly. But they called it Shajarat al-Ark. The coffee tree was called that for a while, until they found out that it's a completely different species. It's just this is coffee, this is qahwa, and this is bunna actually. This is the bunna from Africa, and this is al-Ark. Two different. But this was the first name given to that tree in the Arabian Peninsula, and it was very interesting to me to find out that story, and me being fascinated with the Ark, and they both sound the same, and they're both the same. So I'm gonna call the coffee shop that.
Oh, that's very nice.
It also serves as a form of education, like for people to know the origins of coffee. Usually we would associate it to the West. We would associate it to South America, Colombia, Starbucks, things like that. So we will not really own it. And this is why I decided to put that form of association to Arabic coffee and to originally African origins.
That's very nice. I'm glad I asked you that question. All right, so moving on, I'd like to ask you about your daily habits and successful daily habits, or a routine that you do that caused you to be that successful.
Be good to yourself. To be good to yourself. Not to pressure yourself a lot. The more pressured you are, the less you are able to give. The less you are able to make your objective reach on wherever you need them to go on a personal level, and the less you really give back to people, and the less you are able to provide in any sense. Sometimes people think that waking up with the pressure of routine and waking up with the pressure of having to do something and this is what really puts them back at the end of the day, because they fail to maybe go by that schedule. They don't that to-do list is not done today, and by the end of the day they're pressured. They develop a sense of anxiety. They kind of pin themselves down to bed and start contemplating everything, and they feel like they've done less towards themselves, towards their future. Like tomorrow is one thing less from today, and this is one of the things that I really tried my best not to do to myself, because I did this before, and it fired back at me personally, and on my health, on the people around me, on my ability to reach those goals. So less pressure. Less pressure.
That's very nice to hear. All right, so I'm sure there were people that have inspired you to open up the Ark Coffee. So it's not only you. I'm sure you have your father, your mother, someone who stood up with you and supported you. So I want to know about the people who've supported you and the people who've let you down and disappointed you and told you, Fatema, you can't do this. You can't open a coffee shop.
When it comes to family, opening a coffee shop, when it comes to my parents, like especially my mom, like when I told her that I want to open a coffee shop, I want to be a chef, and I want to do this and I want to do that, she was shocked and she was disappointed. And this shock and disappointment had an effect on my dad as well. And the idea was rejected. Like, you have another plan, you drew something else. Why are you you had a different, thing on your canvas. So why did you just throw that away and decide to draw something new? And they liked what was going on. Like, they liked where I was heading. So this shocked them. They thought that I was being negatively influenced by others. They thought that there is just some third party that's trying to get me out of my way. They were worried. They really did not know that this is coming from within me. And the rejection was from there. They were worried that I was having some form of effect on me, that negative effect from people around me, from friends, from colleagues. They didn't know that this was really me. And part of them didn't really want to know. Not until I walked into the house and I was like, I quit my job today and I want to go to school. to culinary school. And then my mom was like, school? It's like, yeah, I'm going back to culinary school. I'm studying that all over again. I want to take a diploma right after taking a master's in something. I want to go take a diploma in something else. And this is when they knew I was serious. Like, this is me. I'm not doing it for fun. I'm not doing it because a group of other friends are opening cafes. No, I want to go
because it's you. It's within you.
Yeah.
So you quitting your job was done on a whim, or you have had this final decision that you want to quit your job because you really do want to do that to open up the coffee shop? Was it decided on a whim, or have you had it planned before?
Quitting my job was not planned. I wanted to open a business, but then I realized, and one very important person that was an influence to me and kind of directed me to the right path was the late Amira bin Karam, Allah yarhamha. So when I sat with, she was the head of the Sharjah Business Women Council and the Women's Family and Women's Association in Sharjah, and today it's called Nama. So I sat with her and I discussed it with her. I told her I want to do this and I want to do that, and the idea was completely different from what you see today. And she said that you will need to grow yourself more to get there. Like, you need to grow within that shoe. This shoe doesn't fit you yet. This is what I was thinking of the whole time. Like, okay, I was as an entity, they would guide women to and consult them to go through the right path into being an entrepreneur, into opening their own enterprise, into focusing on their crafts and all. But this is when it was a whim. It's back then. And that whim got directed into, learn more, get to know more, educate yourself. Don't just do it because you think it's the right thing. It could be the right thing, but you're not ready for it yet. And this is when I started to take, in 2010, I think, I took a barista course. I don't know why. I was just like, okay, let me...
Barista course?
Yeah, a barista course. And I was still in university. I was still a student. And I took a barista course, and then I took a pastry course, and then I took this and I took that. And this is me still not graduating from university. That whim kind of...
It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. But the pressure of university took me away. I had to focus on a career. I had to focus on this. I had to focus on that. So by the time my career matured, the new child was born, a reborn actually, like, hi, I want to cook.
But it was in you because you were taking courses while you were in the university, so we can see. So it was kicking in.
Developed guidance towards that, and it made me try what I could be. I took courses, I studied a few, and opened a small business that was also under the support of the Business Women's Council. And this business was quite celebrated. Like, I did little delights and sweets and all, and I tried doing that. But then there was university and responsibilities and this and that, and I had to go about them. And this was like you can say a pre-phase, like an intermediate into what I could do, but then, okay, go back to real life now. And real life did last for 6 years. But then after that, I wanted it to happen. It just overgrew, and I've been hiding it, and I can't hide it anymore. Like, that's it.
This is one of the best successful stories I've ever heard. I would love to know more about your personal side, your favorite music, sports, movies, TV shows.
My favorite music. I really like instrumental music. And sometimes I'd like to listen to poetry, plain poetry without any music in the background or any dramatic effects. Arabic mainly. What else? What was again in the line? What else was there?
Sports, music, hobbies.
I wish I had a sport, but
you're not into sports.
No, I'm not even. Sometimes I just sit with Dad to watch football, just for the heck of spending time with him because it's his favorite. But no, not sports. A favorite sport per se, I love swimming, and mainly not in swimming pools. Like, I'd love to go to the sea and swim. And your third was TV shows. Oh, that's embarrassing. I love The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. Like, I watched it probably 3-4 times over, the whole thing, over and over. it's not really the zombies more than the stories that happen and the survival tales that go on between every different culture, the communities that they develop, and it's more of a metaphor to apply on real life. If you look at it and apply it on reality, it's very similar. And it's funny how it sometimes perfectly applies on a lot of situations that we go through when it comes to, again, handling pressure. Like to be put in such predicament and be able to go about it knowing that you could be the next one, being evil to your people. But if you control yourself and like confine your pressure and be able to control it, you'll actually survive through the day and make everyone else live on happily with you. So, and make use of whatever you have, wherever you are. This is one of the reasons I love this TV show, this series, The Walking Dead. Sometimes we feel like it. Sometimes we do feel like The Walking Dead. I just remind myself that they made it through it and they didn't die. So, like they didn't end up being The Walking Dead. So you might as well take that as survive. Do it. Go on.
I loved how your answer is actually connected to my next question, which is any advice that you would like to give to people who want to open up their own businesses, women entrepreneurs, or even men. What is your final advice that you can give?
To do the mistake I did, it's to waste time in education, to educate themselves. I gave it to you earlier as a mistake, like I took all of that time away. But as I told you, that mistake today helped me a lot. Troubleshooting that mistake helped me a lot. And it's to educate themselves. It's to go through, it's to experience, it's to go through whatever it is that they want to do. They want to open, like you want to open a restaurant. Take the time to, or actually, a lot of people don't do that here. Take the effort into working in a restaurant for a while. Work in a place, be a waiter, be a barista, be a chef, be this, be that. If you don't want to do that as a career, if you want to be an entrepreneur and just run the entity, at least take the time to do all of these things. Educate yourself. If you want to open a business in any field whatsoever it is, a lot of guys today and one of them is my brother, they want to, for example, they have an interest in car garages. Now you're not a mechanic, you probably studied business, but go try being one. Go learn things, go do the job, go stay in the garage for a while and experiment on your own car, maybe take the risk on your own self. Learn from these craftsmen and people who really do the job on daily basis. Do that effort. Go through this. Educate yourself in that manner, in the sense of it being either it's a craft, whether it's a design-based job, whether it's an art-based job, whatever it is, whether it's an art-based business, design-based business, craft-based business, whatever it is. Target those who are working in it, regardless of field, regardless of status, and go and learn firsthand. How does this go? Every single detail. And this is the advice I would give anyone that wants to either change the course of their career and open up their own business, or do something within their career on a private scale. They'll have to experience it. They'll have to do it.
Thank you very much. I personally have learned something there, Fatema. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. You're always welcome here. Thank you.
Thank you.